What is up, everyone? Please take a second to hit that like button. More likes, more hooligans. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans. So, I'm going to read through the chat really quick, make sure everything's running smoothly, and then we're going to go over the schedule. We had a live running, but it just ended, but we're still going to skim through it so you guys can see what was happening. So give me a second here. What's up, Matthew? What's up, Adrian? What's up, Mountain Life? What's up, Shanti? What's up, Manuel? What's up, Tacoma? What's up, Anthony? What's up, Diane? Happy Freedom Hooligans. What's up, Sam? What's up, JT3? What's up, Mr. Dog? What's up, Girth? What's up, Robert? What's up, Snooks? Happy Freedom. I appreciate you guys being here. What's up, everyone on the JeffMAC live YouTube channel? What's up, Johnny? What's up, everyone on Twitch? Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys being here. Kick it doesn't have very much of a delay. It's right up there. What's up, everyone on Kick? What's up, everyone on Odyssey? What's up, Anthony? Happy Freedom. What's up, everyone on Rumble? What's up, Free Mine Art? What's up, Lifelike? What's up, Rasta? What's up, Kimberly? What's up, AR16? What's up, Ghostly? What's up, Amanda? Happy Freedom Hooligans. What's up, Santamp? You got to use a browser so you can be in the chat. You're in the comment section, but I appreciate you watching. What's up, everyone on JeffMacLive.com? What's up, Sam? What's up, Livid Review? We're going to be doing a voice chat over there, I think, Friday after the birthday unboxing. The birthday unboxing is going to happen live 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. And then right afterwards, I think we're going to do a voice chat over there. That's the plan. All right, so we're going to start off with this rally for gun reform in Tennessee that was just happening live. It's not live anymore, but we're going to skim through it so you guys can see what was happening. Then we have a video that is titled "Journalist Fears Biden is Unleashing IRS on Political Enemies." Then we have a video titled "Two Blackhawk Helicopters Crash While Training in Kentucky." Unfortunately, there was some casualties there. Then we have a video titled "University Releases Shocking List of Offensive Words, Including American, in Christmas Tree." University of Michigan, I'm pretty sure is what it was. Scared people. Those big scary words, they'll get you. You said Christmas? What? Then we have a video titled "Train Derailment in Western Minnesota Prompts Evacuations." Then we have another video kind of showing more of the train derailment. There isn't any real audio that goes with it, but it's just a little bit more of a view of the train derailment itself. And then we should have KJP stepping on stage by that time because she's supposed to be live in about 33 minutes from now. So hopefully we can stretch things out to get to that point. Who knows how it's going to go today. She's just so terrible at her job. We'll see if she get all riled up. Show her true colors. All right. We're going to start off with this rally here. Let me get things reset real quick. All right. Let me read through the chat really quick and we're going to get this started. Thank you so much, Tainted Muffin, for that $1 donation on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you. It's been a while. I appreciate you coming back. Let's see. OGBT. Appreciate you being here. What's up, Red King? What's up, C Bravo? Adrian, policing words is folly. Or maybe it's folly. It's nonsense. I know that. It's nonsense. Worried about silly words. I understand some words are inappropriate for school. You don't want certain things to be said, but Christmas tree? Oh man, it's so offensive. Hurt my little feelings. American? Can you imagine? I think even in communist countries, you can at least say the country's name or, what the citizens are. I think even in China, you can say China or Chinese. It's not banned. But here in America, oh no, you can't say American. Trying to have a 3-letter agency knocking on your door or kicking your windows in. That's how it happens. Over here saying Christmas tree in American. We'll get into that in a second. What's up, Lister's wife? All right, hooligans. So we're going to skim through this because it's not live anymore. It seemed like it started off kind of spicy and then ended up as a social gathering. Plus, these individuals seem a little bit too young to be protesting gun reform. They don't even know what they're talking about. Let's get her started. So they sound pretty angry, sort of. They're saying, do your job. Nothing like having a bunch of 20-year-olds that have never had a job telling you to do your job. Do your job! Do your job! Who do you think orchestrated this? I see some compliance cloths. Gun violence is a public health crisis, is what it says on that individual's shirt. Swedish house boss. Their teachers forced them out? I don't know. I do not know. All these individuals look somewhere between 18 and 20, I would assume. A lot of them are on the in-between mark. You don't know if they're an innie or an outie. Can't tell. The compliance cloths are really giving away what side they play for. Bunch of softies out there. Not even old enough to legally own a firearm. Can't wait. They can't wait to have their rights taken away. They want to forfeit them so bad. Woo. Woo. Travis, paid protesters. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obvious. They don't know anything. If people wanted gun reform so bad, they'd be in their 30s, 40s, 50s out here protesting. People with a brain. If they were really upset, they'd be out here in big numbers, not the 20-year-olds that protest whether they got enough marshmallows in their Lucky Charms. They don't know anything. You guys are saying insurrection. It's looking like it. It's looking like an insurrection. This person up front here clapping like a seal. If you're a softie and you know it, crap your pants. See, it starts off with all this energy, but it turns into a social gathering by the end of it. Matthew, double-digit IQ levels. It's just too bad it's in the negative. Alright, we're going to skim ahead a little bit. Who's the camera person? This is worse than a World Star video. Officers look kind of bored. They're not even cops anymore. They're just protesters, babysitters. Kind of interesting how it all is BLM chants. Everything they're saying is BLM chants. Is that a coincidence? Is that an accident? They just accidentally, they don't know any other chants? They gotta use the BLM ones, or is this BLM involved? Donald, only criminals would have guns if they got their way. You're correct. You are correct. Those laws only affect people that follow laws. Criminals don't follow laws. They're just restricting good guys with guns. Alright, we're gonna skim ahead a little bit more. Hillbilly at heart, that's what hell would sound like. God only knows. That would be that probably would be terrible, wouldn't it? You get to hell and you start hearing BLM chants, you're like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew this is what it was gonna be like. So this right here is pretty much what the rest of the whole rally looked like. People standing around, talking to each other, doing a bunch of nothing. Okay, we're gonna get away from that ringing sound. Oh, somebody brought some Starbucks. I don't know if the camera person's drunk or what. Maybe they're trying to conceal identities by looking up at the ceiling while doxing cops at the same time. Could be. It could be what's going on. I'm telling you, it's gonna be spicy this summer. It's gonna be spicy. Saturday, there's supposed to be some sort of protest in DC with shape-shifting predators that are all mad about something. You never know. You never know. They're just mad. You can guarantee that. They're mad. Mary, what state? This is Tennessee. They're protesting gun reform because of the shooting that happened in Nashville. Hey Dad, thanks for being here. Text me and let me know how you're doing. I was gonna text you, but I ran out of time. Mr. Beansy Beans, I think these protesters need to be put in their place. Like grounded, they should have their iPad taken away. They're just a bunch of kids. They don't even know anything. They don't know anything. Somebody told them to come out here and do this. There's not even really big numbers, really, compared to a lot of the protests that we've seen. This is nothing. So these are recruitments right here. These are believers in the cause. Big quotes there. These are fresh recruitments right here. That's why they know all the chants. Bipolar Bear. A shooting committed by a lefty Marxist targeting Christian children. Yeah. They don't care about that, though. They don't care about that. That gun just got up there and did all that stuff on its own. Big scary guns. I've seen something last week saying that people used to march for their rights, and now people march to have their rights taken away. They don't even know what they're booing. Just out there doing what they're told. They probably get paid in riot pizza. They probably don't even actually get cash out of this. They get paid in checks, but the checks bounce. skip school. When I was younger, we didn't skip school to go protest. We were like jumping in the lake and stuff like that. I don't know. Protesting just raises awareness. It doesn't do anything else. People are aware of what's going on. So, I don't know. Huge waste of time. But any reason to not be in school, I suppose. Mordrina. Perfectly programmed. Yep. Yep, these are fresh recruitments right here. Pretty soon they'll be making their Facebook accounts up. It says activist across the bottom of it. That's how you know they're official. When they got their activist Facebook account. Ghostly, a lady on The View called for killings a week before. Yep. I don't think we covered it, but I did see something about that. Scared to go to school. Probably because you got bad grades. Edward, the new assault weapons ban. They want to ban all semi-autos and confiscate them. Yeah, during the White House press briefing yesterday, someone had mentioned whether or not they were going to try and confiscate assault weapons if the ban was to take place. And KJP didn't want to touch that. She didn't want to touch that. Because that's the line right there. They can say it and do whatever they want to, but as soon as they come for it, they want the confiscation to happen. There's going to be so much blowback. That's going to last a day. It's going to last a day. It's going to be the tipping point. They'll either give up or lockdowns will happen. It's going to be one or the other. I bet it doesn't last a whole 24 hours. They'll probably start in some soft area like Oregon or Washington State or California or New York, someplace where people want to give up their rights. And then they'll successfully do some part of town. And then they'll make that the example for everywhere else. They'll say, oh, well, we went here and everybody turned their stuff in. You need to do what they did, otherwise you're a part of the problem. They participated in the solution, and since you won't, you're a part of the problem. And then they get to go on the news and say you're a bad person because you won't forfeit your rights. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Faded. They get paid in Molly Ranchers. They might. They're only 20 years old. They're just sitting there rolling and stuff. We used to watch the Portland protesters take acid before going to protest. We'd see PDX Ninja and all those guys. They'd be sitting there taking acid, getting ready to march to the location, like the ICE Center or the federal building where the federal courthouse is. And they'd be getting all whacked out, hooting and hollering and singing and making weird noises and stuff, start tripping balls, and then go out there and burn the buildings down, because it was nothing but a big party. That's all it was. That's all it still is. It's just a reason to go out and party. It doesn't have anything to do with justice. Nothing. It's just a party. Adam, after gun confiscation comes speech confiscation. Yep. Yeah, once they take guns, then you're defenseless. They can do whatever they want after that. What's up, Mr. Bill? Did they bring the super glue, I wonder? These are fresh recruits here. I'm not sure how prepared they are. Not seeing a whole lot of backpacks. When you see the backpacks, then you know they got supplies with them for secret agendas. Not seeing too many backpacks, so these are fresh. These are fresh faces here. And then for the rest of the video, this is pretty much, when I found this live, this is what they were doing. They were standing around doing this. So I don't know. I don't know what their goal was. It seems like it was just to skip school more than anything. Let's see. Watch the water. What's going on in Minnesota? We will get to that. We will get to that. Look at this individual in the middle. I thought it was a ski mask, but I think it's a gator. And then they got a bandana on just to the left of the frame there. All wrapped up. Looking like they're ready to do no good. Right there. Now he's got his back facing to us. I don't know. That's probably the most radical person there. Trying to conceal their identity. Tim, no, this isn't the shape-shifting predators. That's on Saturday. Saturday is the shape-shifting predator protest, and it's like a call to action. It's not just a protest. It says something like vengeance or revenge or something like that. It's like a call to action. Some people think it's a false flag, but I don't know. I don't quite know. I just know that it's shape-shifting predators. They're angry, and they're going to be in D.C. on Saturday, which just happens to be April Fool's Day. So we'll see how that goes. But I do plan on covering it on all platforms unless they're armed, which there's kind of suggestion that they may be armed. If they're open carrying, then we won't be able to show it on YouTube because you can't show firearms on YouTube Live. You can show it on regular videos that you upload, but you can't show it on the live. Bipolar Bear Day of Vengeance. Yeah. Yep. That's what it's called. MTG shared the flyer and then got suspended on Twitter. So it's like the second time MTG's been suspended on Twitter. Serum, Rumble's so irritating, they're already censoring. What'd you do? Did you say the F word? I didn't know they were censoring the chat until I went to say the F word, and then they removed my comment. And I was like, oh, I didn't know we were doing that. I told you guys, though, if you look up the community guidelines on Rumble, they're almost exactly like YouTube. They haven't been cracking down on it. Serum, I typed the F word, but at least I X'd out the U, and it disappeared. Yeah, I don't know. They got badges, though. That's kind of a cool thing. I've been seeing that pop up more and more. They're trying to make it more like the YouTube chat. I asked them on Twitter if they were going to give badges to all the hooligans in the chat because they're part, or they own locals, or they're in some sort of cahoots with locals. So I asked them if somebody has a locals membership, is it going to reflect on the chat and Rumble? And they said that they're working on it, but I'm already seeing supporter badges. I don't know if that means that you've donated through the chat or if it also represents the people who are members, who have memberships through locals. Well, Snooks, I guess it works if you had like 16 Ks at the end. You gotta trick the system. That's what makes us hooligans, is just tricking the system. Tis what it is. They can get over it. Offensive speech is free speech. Wade, Benny Johnson reported that the shaman from J6 is being released because of the footage. Awesome. They should let all those people go. I was getting in arguments with people on Twitter over that stuff who are doughheads. Just doughheads over there on Twitter. But they need to let the people go from J6. And a lot of people were crying saying, well, some of them committed crimes. Yeah, but have any of them committed crimes that take a 2+ year sentence? If the answer is no, then you need to let them go. Because regardless of court dates and stuff like that, if you commit a misdemeanor, which is 93 days in jail, and you sit 2+ years for it, that's wrong. That's not justice. And so, I don't know, people need to pull their head out of their rear end there. I don't know why this is buffering, but it's not much else to it, so we'll just move forward. What's up, Carolyn? Happy freedom. Let's see. Mushroom, will he sue? He should. All those people should. They should. Everybody that is incarcerated right now for J6, they should definitely sue. They're pretty much kidnapped at this point. I mean, it's like jaywalking and then going to prison for 2.5 years. Most of the charges is trespassing. And even that doesn't really stick. You have to be told to leave the property before they can hit you with trespassing, or be told to leave and then refuse. They can't just hit you with trespassing just because you showed up. Plus, that's public property, so I don't know. It's not good. What's happening to the J6ers is wrong. Dogs against ATF. This is terribly weak insurrection. The freaks and degenerates. Yeah, it'll get stronger. They'll keep doing it. This is just their first day as fresh recruits. Hillbilly at heart, all the J6ers will be rich. If they can afford an attorney, they should. And they should be able to afford an attorney. Those people who go out there for the J6 vigil with Ashley Babbitt's mom, the reason we don't cover that is because most of the time they're playing music, which will just cause copyright flags. And the other reason is because a lot of times they're just begging for money, which is, it's fine. That's their own business. But if they're actually receiving money by standing outside praying in front of the jail, I hope that money is actually going to the defense of the J6ers, to beat the cases, to beat the charges, to get them out of jail. Because if they're just paying rent with money, standing outside, of the J6ers doing a vigil and stuff, it's kind of deceiving. And so that's why we don't cover that, is because I don't know anything about that. We know about the J6ers. We covered it live. We know what happened. We know they're still there. We know that they're in inhumane conditions. We're not going to cover 6 individuals standing outside the jail praying and begging for money. That's why we don't cover it. I hope the best for all those people, but I don't know. So that is the rally for gun reform that happened in Tennessee. You could see it wound down fairly quickly. That video was maybe an hour long, maybe it was 2 hours long, but you seen the first 30 minutes, it was all spicy, and then after that, it was just a social gathering with Starbucks. KJP is supposed to be on stage in 8 minutes from now. She'll probably be late because that's how she gets down. We're going to cover this next video titled "Journalist Fears Biden is Unleashing IRS on Political Enemies."
There is
All right, I'm gonna read through the chat really quick and we're get right into this. "24/7, the court is in DC. They can do whatever they want." Yeah. That's why they're trying to make it like a ghetto out there. They don't even want to charge criminals. They like that criminal activity because they're criminals themselves. What's up, Tara? Happy freedom. Dogs against ATF. I live too far away from all the good stuff. That's kind of how I feel too. It's not good stuff though, really. But people are always like, why don't you go out there and cover it? Well, because I don't have money to drive 6 states away to go cover a protest that'll last 4 days and then die out. I barely have enough money to pay my bills, let alone go on vacation like that. But, anything that happened here in Michigan, I would go check it out. But I can't be driving to halfway across the country just to cover a goofy little protest. If there were big protests, we'd try and raise some funds for it. But no, not going to walk that far, not going to drive that far. It's not worth it at this point. All right, let's get her started.
There is new fallout this morning over the IRS visit to the home of Matt Taibbi, the journalist, while he was testifying to Congress about the weaponization of government. In a brand new op-ed in the New York Post, our next guest asks, is Biden, like past presidents, unleashing the IRS on his enemies? Journalist James Bovard joins us right now from the D.C. area. James, good morning to you.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
In your op-ed, you talk a little bit about how there was a knock at his door on the same day that he was testifying before Congress, and you wondered whether it was moronic or if it was malicious.
Yeah, well, there's certainly a fear factor the IRS has used for decades, maybe 100 years. There was a IRS district chief that told Congress in the 1990s the IRS collects more taxes from fear than through the law, and it doesn't matter what the motive was for this visit. For the on the same day that Matt Taibbi's testifying before Congress and getting beat up by all the Democrats on the committee. This is a message that, you go there, you bash the government, IRS might knock on your door. And, again, it's hard to know what the motive was. Maybe it was coincidental. It might be kind of like if someone goes into a bank and forgets to take off their ski mask.
Right. Could be coincidental. We don't know yet, but it sure does look like. And I know you wonder whether or not they're trying to send a message to Mr. Taibbi, but you write, almost every administration since the IRS inception, the info and power of the tax agency has been mobilized for explicitly political purposes. What did FDR do to his enemies with the IRS?
Yeah, well, Franklin Roosevelt used the IRS to harass newspaper publishers that were beating up on the New Deal.
I never realized that other presidents had used the IRS as like a weapon until I seen this video.
Up by John F. Kennedy in the early 60s. John F. Kennedy explicitly set out a IRS program to go after conservative groups, Christian groups, anti-communist groups. There were over 10,000 different groups on the target list. And then Nixon came in and made it a hell of a lot worse. You had John Dean, White House counsel, saying that Nixon is going to use the IRS to screw our political enemies. I mean, there were changes after Watergate. There were reforms put in. And how did that work out? Typical D.C.
Yeah. What about during the Obama years when they targeted, 300 conservative groups that had things like Tea Party in their titles?
Yeah, the early on during the Obama administration, the IRS sent out a BOLO list. Be on the lookout for groups applying for a tax-exempt status that had the names Tea Party or Patriot. The IRS was also targeting groups that were that advocated education about the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. Very important not to let these kind of groups get loose, you know. And so the IRS blocked the tax-exempt status for that, trying to weaken Obama's political enemies. And the House Majority Leader Eric Cantor said it was like the hallmark of authoritarian nations. Federal Appeals Court said that the IRS had abused its power in this issue.
Sure. So the question is, was it simply, as you're right, was it moronic or malicious? Was it simply a coincidence that the IRS guy showed up at
Not unless the guy owed taxes
that day? Well, will we ever know?
I think that we might get some insights. And again, it's possible it was a happenstance.
Yeah.
However, I mean, the IRS has got a really bad record, and the fundamental fault is Congress, because Congress has not reformed the IRS, the tax code. The IRS has all this arbitrary power over Americans. When you have that much power, it's going to be abused.
James, let us know if somebody knocks on your door today, okay?
Will do.
All right. Thank you, sir. James Vogt.
Yeah, I never realized that presidents and members of government were using the IRS as a weapon. I mean, I believe anything at this point, the way things run today, but I didn't know they've been doing that for years. I know the IRS doesn't mess around. If they think you owe them money, you're in a tight situation. They can do whatever they want to you. And then Matt Taibbi is one of the journalists that released Twitter files. And then he went to testify, and then that same day IRS shows up. So unless he owed taxes, it's kind of like having the mafia show up to see if you paid for your insurance. And then they just start trashing your house or your store. What's up, JP Bass Sr.? What's up, Tony? Happy Freedom, Hooligans. Dogs Against ATF. Oh, you're a Youper? You're just a little bit north of me. You're one of those hooliganders. Let's see. Just reading through the chat really quick, and we're going to move forward. KJP is supposed to be on stage in 1 minute. I'm going to pull it up so I'll know exactly when she steps on stage. Mary, you know that KJP was stopped for a DUI on Friday night but was let go. I heard that, but I haven't seen anything about it specifically. I'd have to look into it. I'm not surprised that she would be let go, though. She's in D.C. You could stab somebody in the face and get let go. That's why they were trying to pass those bills or whatever to make it in D.C., so pretty much you wouldn't even get arrested for crimes. What's up, Trigger Crazy? Happy freedom. What's up, Can Killer? Everybody on Rumble trying to beat the censorship in the chat. What's up, Sleuly TV? Serum what? Apparently you can write hoo-ha in the chat. Can't write the F word though. Tots? Somebody's got the tots out? You hooligans crack me up. Oh my goodness. All the words. Trying to see what gets censored and what doesn't. Make sure you guys write it down. Write me a manual. Alright, let me see if KJP's on stage. If not, we're going to move forward with this video that is titled 2 Blackhawk Helicopters Crash During Training in Kentucky. Alright, so KJP is not on stage yet, but the live is kicked over, so I'm sure she'll be on stage in a few moments. While we wait, we're going to cover this video. 2 Blackhawk helicopters crash while training in Kentucky.
Overnight, 2 U.S. Blackhawk helicopters crashed during a military training incident about 40 miles away from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Officials say crew members from the 101st Airborne Division were flying 2 HH-60 Blackhawk choppers during a routine training mission when the crash happened around 10 last night. Governor Andy Beshear tweeting overnight that fatalities from the incident are expected, writing, "We've got some tough news out of Fort Campbell with early reports of a helicopter crash. Please pray for all those affected."
The crash occurred in a field, some wooded area, but primarily a field area. Troopers responded to the area and came across the wreckage of 2 military Blackhawks.
One witness says the choppers seemed to be flying out of the ordinary before they crashed, lighting up an entire tree line.
2 helicopters just disappeared out of the sky, and there was a large flash. And we ran outside, and we started seeing another helicopter that circled that area where I thought the impact was for probably 30 minutes. And then we saw ambulances and sirens.
Fort Campbell releasing a statement saying the status of the crew members are unknown at this time. The command is currently focused on caring for the service members and their families. This incident comes just weeks after a Blackhawk helicopter from the Tennessee National Guard crashed in Alabama, killing 2 crew members.
Now, Fort Campbell officials are pretty tight-lipped about releasing any new information at this time, but do plan on providing an update later on this morning. Weather conditions at the time of this crash reportedly calm with very little wind and clear visibility.
All right, Kathy Park for us there in Kentucky. Kath, thank you.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. And that just randomly happens. Had 2 of them go down today or yesterday, and then we had one maybe a month ago go down. Maybe it was 3 weeks ago. It's kind of weird that that's happening back to back like that. I used to work for this company, and my boss was in the Navy for a long time, like a really long time, and he like leveled up and used to deal with nuclear stuff and whatever, and he would always tell me random things, but he would get so upset when he would hear about military personnel dying in helicopter crashes, and he would say that when it happens overseas, a lot of times it's because something else happened and they don't want to tell us about it. So they just say on the news that those people died because of a helicopter crash. That's not actually what happened. That's just the cover-up, because they don't want to release information to the Americans on how something went down. Either another country hit us because we did something wrong, or maybe they hit us and they don't want to cause outrage on stateside. But every time they would hear something, like they would say it on Wood Radio or whatever, because we used to listen to Wood Radio while we worked, Harpazo, none of them were accidents. And that's what he used to say. He would say the same thing. He would say, you know, the training you have to take in the safety protocol inside the aircraft and stuff, these things don't just happen. You don't just fall out of the sky like you're some McDonald's worker driving a taxi. Like, the training that goes into it's not just an accident that happens. Something bad happened, and they just don't want to tell the truth upon it. So they just say, oh, it was an accident. They just accidental crash. So I don't know. Now, with this being stateside and the way the world is now, it could have been two blue-haired, half head shaved, you know, doing drugs and smoking meth in the back. I don't know. The world's messed up now. It could definitely be meth heads from Portland driving the helicopters. I have no idea. But that just always stuck with me. He would get all upset about that, and he would say, these people are so smart and they're so trained that these accidents don't just happen. Like, they have a will to live. They didn't just go out there and go, hey, watch this, try and make it do a backflip and then die. It seems like a big deal. And then they, like with this video that we just covered, they won't even tell you how many casualties there were. It was just multiple. They won't say what they were doing. It won't say, you know, how many people died. A lot of mystery around it. So KJP is still not on stage, so we can move forward. This next one's a real interesting one. It's titled, University Releases Shocking List of Offensive Words, Including American and Christmas Tree. Let's get her started, hooligans.
Now to this, Michigan State University taking on what they call bigoted phrases as part of their annual...
Those bigoted phrases.
Get this. Some of those potentially offensive words on the list include America when talking about the United States, and terrorists when referring to religious extremists. Also on the list, Christmas trees, bunnies, overweight, and nuts. Michigan State explains the crackdown, saying, quote, the origins of seemingly innocuous idioms or words may be racist, sexist, or ableist in nature. Audrey Whipple's a campus reform correspondent at Michigan State University. She joins me now. Audrey, this is nuts. What's going on?
Yeah, Michigan State has done this before. We've seen universities put out these inclusive language guides, these harmful language guides, and Michigan State has just gone too far, right? Like you said, some of the words included on this list are Christmas tree, bunnies, just these words that are everyday language, and ultimately what they're doing is ostracizing just the everyday American and deeming that language harmful, which we just know to be.
There's no way I would pay to go to school just to be told I can't say American or Christmas tree.
Offensive are cakewalk, tipping point, rule of thumb, founder, and bonkers. I would go so far as to say this list is not only nuts, it's bonkers as well. Look, people with jobs, families, responsibilities don't sit around coming up with ridiculous lists like this. So, Audrey, who's pushing this?
Yeah, you know, the school claims to be trying to push this for in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion. But it's very clear to me that this is just another attempt to ensure that progressive ideology is on campus. Again, like I said, even including many of these terms that are traditionally associated with Christian holidays. I certainly don't feel that as a Christian or as a conservative on campus that the school is worried about making sure that my views are included, right? I'm a pro-life activist on campus.
this. Following the fall of Roe, Michigan State sent out a mass email basically expressing their deep concern. So for me, that was horrifying to know, right, they claim to be inclusive and to be pushing for a diverse thought, but obviously they take very clear positions on things, and this is just a merely political push again. So.
Yeah. Your diverse thought is irrelevant to the campus of Michigan State and many, if not most, other colleges. And that's sad, because that is not what a university college system is supposed to be. With this guide as the guide for your campus, will there be any words left?
Yeah, that's my question as well. This is just a ridiculous standard to live by. This list just continues to grow and grow, these terms that are deemed harmful, that everyday Americans are using.
I can't believe tipping point is on there.
And students are going to be now worried so much about the social shame that comes with even just using the words that they're used to using. Right? Professors are going to spend more time actually drafting emails and figuring out exactly how to word things so as not to offend someone. More time spending doing that than actually teaching their classes, right? Then students are actually being able to spend time focusing on learning, right? I think there's this ultra hypersensitive culture is ultimately harmful for students, especially in an educational setting where we should be able to have free thought, free use of language, and honest conversations, right? Not worrying about offending people with just standard language that we've used forever.
That is such an important point, because you
pay to go to school just to have them kick you out because you said bunnies.
Word does need to be precise, because
unbelievable
to those words. But a document, let's say a letter in that instance, takes a really long time to craft because you're constantly going over the language. If everybody does that, one, in normal conversation, and two, normal email writing, nothing will get done. It will be absolutely insane. Last question to you, Audrey. Why? Why does the left seem so eager to destroy free speech?
Well, ultimately, you can never be certain of every individual's intentions, but at least in my mind, it does seem clear that these places of higher education are now being used to, again, push that progressive ideology. And the very places that should be so open to conversation are now the places that seem most shut down. At least for me as a Christian, I can only assume that some of it might have to do with the history of Christianity's opposition to some of these ideologies. But again, now we're getting into a different territory, not even just with what they would consider extreme Christian or conservative language, but even just more everyday language. Leadership Institute's campus reform previously reported that Brandeis University was even deeming similar words harmful, even deeming words like police or picnic as harmful. So I think they're just getting to a point where they've gone too far with it, and I think they just need to walk it back, right? They should have walked it back a long time ago, but it's gone much too far, and it's just ridiculous at this point.
I'm just thinking of all the books in my own home that now need to be banned because they contain the word bunny. And most of these books are for my 2-year-old, so I'm going to have to tell the little one, we got to get rid of these books because they reference bunnies, and Michigan State doesn't want you referencing bunnies. Does that make sense? It does not. Audrey Whipple, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
So we see all the time that colleges are pushing these crazy ideas or banning words. Why are they allowed to do that, though? That's what I want to know, is why are they allowed to do that? Not only are they doing it, but why is no one stopping it? Like, are they so far up the totem pole that they're just able to do this and no one can stop it from happening? Because they took the Pledge of Allegiance out of school because it said under God. And they were like, well, what if not everybody believes in God? That's not fair. Is that where this started? Now you can't say bunnies. You can't say Christmas tree. You can't say American. Like I said earlier, even in China, you can say China or Chinese. But here in America, it's a banned word to say America or American. How does that even kind of sort of make sense? Just a little bit. How does it a little bit make sense? Explain to me like I'm a 3-year-old. I need to understand. Who's ever hurt somebody with the word bunny? And then you see these softies go out there and say, well, words kill people. I've never seen that. I've never seen words kill people before. Never. Especially with the word bunny. I'm waiting for the protest to come out. It's, oh, the officer said bunny to my son and killed him. He was such a good boy, blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. This stuff is so stupid. Hillbilly at Heart. It's as weird as all the train wrecks going on. That's the other thing that people fight me on Twitter. Is every time I talk about, it's weird how many train derailments we've had. It's weird how much toxic chemicals are getting spilled because of this. And then people always come out and they go, oh, this happens every day. We just didn't cover it. Oh, why not? Why not? We've had cell phones for like 30 years or 40 years with cameras in them. So why not? Why is this just now coming out? Why is it every day another derailment? No real answers. Just trolls. Just trolls and crybabies. Damon Walker, Hillbilly at Heart, 9 died in the crash. Okay, so it was 9 military personnel that had passed. I know they were saying multiple, and that there was another video we were going to cover, but a lot of the information was the same as what we already seen, so I didn't put them both on the schedule. But I was having a hard time gathering information with that helicopter crash. Dharma agent, because of Ishtar, that's going to take us down a whole nother path. Let's see. Hillbilly at Heart, like on Monty Python's The Holy Grail. We will live in the land of Nit before long. I've never seen that, but I know what you're referencing. I've seen parts and pieces. Tara, since Kool-Aid hair lefties offend us, can we ban them? No. Only the lefties have the right to ban, to do the, that's cancel culture. It's just another way of saying softies. You don't never see it the other way around. And that's kind of what I'm saying about schools. How is it that schools can ban the word bunny and there's no one to stand against that? Just no one standing against it. Klaus Daniels, why are you offended by the word bunny? Racist. It's racist. He needs to calm down. Adrian, you must watch The Holy Grail. I know. There's a long list of movies I need to watch. I need to watch that. I need to watch Duel. It took almost a year to watch. Oh, what was it with the semi trucks? I can't even think what it's called. Everybody was telling me to watch it when we were covering The Convoy, and then Wicked Patriot actually sent me the movie so I could watch it because I couldn't find it anywhere. Diane Klaus has given his opinion. Yeah, that's what he does. He's the co-host. He's laying here. He's all laid out now, but yeah. Dharma agent, why is bunny banned? I don't understand. Because it's a descendant of racist words and offensive language, according to the Michigan State University. It was too much. Those bunnies, they'll get you. We need to ban those assault bunnies. They're coming to get you. Overkill. Is that what it was? Yeah, it probably was. I watched it twice in a row. Now I'm not even sure. Oh, Maximum Overdrive. That's what it is. Maximum Overdrive. Chrissy, you knew what I was talking about. 24, you knew. You guys knew. You knew what I was saying. So KJP is still not on stage, so we'll just go ahead and move forward. So this next video is titled Train Derailment in Western Minnesota Prompts Evacuations.
Breaking news. Breaking news right now as you wake up at 6 o'clock. In the last 2 hours, we learned about a big train derailment. This is over in Raymond, Minnesota.
Yeah, Raymond is about 2 hours west of us here in the Twin Cities. It's in Candy-Ojai County, not far from Wilmer. You'll also notice Princeburg on the map when we zoom in here. That is where authorities are telling people right now to evacuate to.
So these brand new images are circulating on Facebook right now of that fire in Raymond after that derailment. Ashley Lucas posted this about an hour ago. Those flames are huge out there. Those tankers were carrying ethanol and corn syrup. Cece Gaines is on her way to that scene right now. We will talk to her in just a few minutes. She should be almost at that scene or near that scene.
And folks, I've been chatting with folks from the Raymond area, including Brian Aiken. He tweeted this to me saying he got this emergency alert on his phone at about 2 o'clock this morning. All it said was, due to a train derailment, evacuate to Princeburg School. He was able to safely get to his parents' house, but again, a very scary situation for the small town of Raymond, but still about 800 people impacted by this. And of course, Highway 23, here's Raymond as we speak. Highway 23 closed in both directions, so as folks are evacuating, watch out for that, and as folks in the surrounding communities anticipate roads to be a little more crowded. Wilmer, Highway 71, Highway 7, 277, and 40 are going to be your detour options this morning.
So we have another video that's raw footage of an individual covering the train derailment. There isn't any audio to it. It's only a minute long.
On the actual, like which community.
Hillbilly at Heart, notice how all the wrecks are right by rivers? Yep. All of it contaminates water. Then they say the water is not contaminated. Then they allow everyone to come back. Then everyone gets sick. And then the hospitals start turning them away and stuff, saying, oh, well, we can't do those tests right now. Or we'll get your results in the next 3 months. Stuff like that. It's all an accident. And according to the idiots on Twitter, this happens every day. This is normal. They just didn't report it until now. For no reason. It's so stupid. What's up, Craig? Salty Ragu, I double bunny dare you. You're so banned from Michigan State University. So banned. Bunny freestyle, not today. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
You hooligans crack me up. KJP is still not on stage. Well, we'll give her a moment. I don't have anything else to cover. I might have to go look for something else to cover. Jason, they're literally trying to kill us. Yeah, that's what it seems like. You know, when the government tells you not to worry, it's probably time to worry. Chrissy, yeah, I forgot about the fungus. That's coming. That's I don't know. I wonder if they're going to wait till after summer to really hit us with that. We'll see. We'll see. Be a blessing. I actually have a friend whose name is Bunny. Well, they can't go to Michigan State University. They're banned. They're banned. PB Brown. No IBMX, and I'm not banning the bunny hop. My goodness. That's a good one. That's one of those knee slappers right there. Covered the Tennessee Capitol insurrection. Yeah, that's not going on anymore. We already did. That's how we started this. I've seen somebody talking about nuclear waste. Did we cover the nuclear waste leak of 1.5 million gallons? Ghostly, is it like in Minnesota or Wisconsin or something like that? I know that we did a week ago where there was a factory or something that had spilled nuclear water or something like that into a water source like back in November, but nobody said anything about it until last week because the cleanup crew was just getting ready to show up and they knew that people were going to see that. And so they had to release an explanation. Yeah, we did cover it. Yeah, we did cover it. See, this is why I'm starting to cut the live up into short form videos and release it, is because if you guys aren't here during the live, like that and more in the title is so emphasized. It's so emphasized. I can only put 2 or 3 videos in the title. as far as, what it's about is subject matter. But a lot of times we cover 8, 10, 12, 14 videos. And if you guys aren't here for the live, then you don't even know that it's happening. And a lot of times we're live like 3+ hours on the non-YouTube platforms because of everything we have to cover that I just can't show on YouTube because of their community guidelines. Today I don't have any videos that are restricted from YouTube, so we're just kind of waiting on this press briefing here. But if she starts taking too long, I'm gonna find something else to watch. Okay. Thank you so much, big fella, for that $2 donation on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hillbilly at Heart. My girlfriend's name is Bunny. She's banned. Guy Dub. No, see, and I wonder if that's what they're talking about when they say that it's racist. I wonder if they're talking about that phrase right there. Durham agent, yeah, like 400,000 gallons of water. Yeah, we covered it. They weren't very descriptive with what exactly happened. They just said that there was a leak. The water had spilled out into a water supply, that everything was fine. Just go ahead and bathe your kids and drink the water right out of the pond. You'll be okay. Don't mind that third arm growing out of your chest. You'll be fine. I mean, who doesn't have cancer in their fingernails? I don't know. They're trying to kill us off. That's what it really seems like. Well, let's see if I can find something else while we wait for KJP, since she doesn't want to come to work today. First thing I see, I guess I'm live. I seen that there was a live with Congress or somebody talking about the federal government being weaponized, but it was like a 4-hour live, and when I clicked on it, the first like 4 things they said were words that we can't show on YouTube. So that's why we did not put that on. Who is Gwyneth Paltrow or Peltrow or whatever? Because I see she's on trial or something. Yeah, trial over a car crash or something. I don't know who that is, but it seems really familiar. And there's like 6 or 7 channels covering that. Global News has a live right now talking about RCMP react to Nova Scotia mass shooting inquiry final report. Pretty sure Nova Scotia is in Canada. How is there a mass shooting in a country that's disarmed? Like, I know they have guns there, but it's not like in America. I know they have very strict gun laws. So how did a mass shooting happen? They have gun laws. It's all restricted. How come it's not problem solved? How come the softies don't understand that? I do not understand how soft doughheads do not understand that as soon as a person brings a gun into a gun-free zone, that itself is evidence that gun laws don't work against criminals. Just that on its own, let alone all the other things that we can compare, that on its own should say gun laws do not do anything to criminals. Period. It's ridiculous. And I think the leaders, I know the leaders know that. People in charge know that. They know that gun laws do not hurt criminals. They only hurt good guys with guns. Like I've said before, leave it to the mice to tell you that you need to ban mousetraps, because guns are not for self-defense and they're not really for hunting. They're for one thing, and it's defending yourself against a tyrannical government. So it's kind of weird when the mice start telling you to ban mousetraps, and then they start up all these events, and then they use these events as a way to prop themselves up to say that we need a gun ban. I don't know. Where I'm from, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 5. Stop trying to tell me it does, because it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Just looking for something to show while we wait for KJP. Oh, interesting. Fox News was also covering the gun reform rally going on in Tennessee that we were covering there. Sure is getting a lot of publicity for a bunch of people that don't exactly know what they want, because they're like 12 and a half years old. They got done eating a bowl of cereal before they came out to the rally. ago, Associated Press released a video talking about the Blackhawk helicopter crash in Kentucky. Nine killed in the Army. Well, we could watch this. This guy's going to do some explaining.
At approximately 10 p.m. last night, 2 of our Blackhawk helicopters were involved in a crash during a planned training flight in Cadiz, Kentucky, that resulted in the death of all 9 service members aboard the aircraft. It was 5 and 4, and that is fairly typical. There's a pilot, a co-pilot, a crew chief, and then often you'll have medics or other personnel on the aircraft as well. Despite our losses, we were lucky because they were able to land in an open field across from a residential area. So thankfully there were no additional casualties or injuries as a result of the aircraft crash. They do have something very similar to the black boxes that we see on the larger aircraft. And we're hopeful that that will provide quite a bit of information of what occurred. We started next of kin notification early this morning. We have some family members that are in the local area that we were able to contact fairly quickly, but we also have some family members across the United States and a few outside of the United States. So that process is ongoing. We're doing everything we can to notify families as quickly as we can, but I don't have a good estimation on when the final notifications will occur. Everything we do, safety is integrated into this. And for context, when we do any training, but especially aviation training, they do very, very detailed planning, very detailed rehearsals. Depending on the risk of the operation they're doing, has different levels of approval from the command. So we will always relook our safety precautions and our measures. But this was, like all of these training events, safety is a primary focus for us.
Just in time. All right, hooligans, I'm going to post a link to the link tree in the comments. I encourage you guys to all join Gilded. Gilded's free, and it's the best way to get notifications and hang out with all the hooligans every day. We have a news board there to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world, so definitely join Gilded. Also on the link tree, you'll have links to get a free week membership to JeffMACLive.com. We're going to be doing a voice chat tomorrow after the birthday unboxing live. That'll take place at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so definitely take advantage of that free week membership. You'll also have links to make donations and join membership programs if you guys would like to support what I do.
Prostitute.
The president was briefed this morning on the troubling reports that Evan Gershkovich has been detained in Russia. Last night, senior White House officials spoke directly with Mr. Gershovich's employer, the Wall Street Journal. The State Department has also been in touch with the Wall Street Journal and his family on this matter. This espionage charges are ridiculous. The targeting of American citizens by Russian government is unacceptable. We condemn the detention of Mr. Gershkovich in the strongest terms. We also condemn the Russian government's continued targeting and repression of journalists. Embassy Moscow has engaged the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs on this matter in the seeking consular access. I want to strongly reiterate that Americans should heed the U.S. government's warning to not travel to Russia. U.S. citizens residing or traveling in Russia should depart immediately, as the State Department continues to advise. Now, it's been 3 days since the tragic school shooting in Nashville, and we've heard nothing from Republicans in Congress about what they will do to stop our kids from being murdered in our schools and in our communities. In fact, we've now heard a number of Republican members of Congress that they don't intend to do anything at all. And in North Carolina yesterday, the Republican-controlled state legislature didn't skip a beat in overriding Governor Cooper's veto on a dangerous bill that makes communities less safe. That's the opposite of common sense. And it is outrageous.
Leave it to this trash bag to tell us about common sense.
To act now. Doing nothing when guns are the leading killer of our kids in America is absolutely.
You're right. We need to arm these teachers.
We need to
You're right.
An assault weapons ban. Mandate universal background checks. Require safe storage of guns. Hold manufacturers accountable.
What does safe storage have to do with mass shootings?
Policies.
The gun isn't being stored. It's not incorrect storing that is causing mass shootings, you idiot.
About why they won't protect our kids. They owe answers to the Nashville families who lost their 3 kids, the 9-year-olds. They owe answers to Uvalde, the parents of Uvalde, 19 kids. They owe answers to the people.
Make sure hooligans rack up those likes and share this out. Everybody should see how stupid KJP is.
They owe answers to them and their families, that community. Again, this is completely unacceptable, and we need to do everything that we can to protect our communities and to protect our kids. As you all know, tomorrow, the President and the First Lady will travel to Rolling Fork, Mississippi. They will visit with first responders, state and local officials, and communities impacted by the recent devastating storms. They'll survey recovery efforts and reaffirm their commitment to supporting the people of Mississippi as long as it takes. As you know, President Biden spoke with Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves and members of the Mississippi delegation over the weekend. The president also approved an expedited major disaster declaration for Mississippi and ordered federal funding be made available to support emergency response efforts. Secretary Mayorkas and FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell were also on the ground over the weekend, and we'll certainly have more details on the trip before tomorrow. Finally, we are heartbroken over the tragic loss of 9 brave service members. Our hearts and our prayers go out to their families during this very difficult time, as well as those who served alongside them at Fort Campbell. The men and women of the 101st Airborne Division represent the best of our nation, and play a critical role in our security. We will always honor our commitments to our service members and their families, and we stand with all who are grieving in the wake of this terrible, truly terrible accident. And with that, Colleen, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Karine, can you tell us any more about the negotiations to get the Wall Street Journal reporter out of Russia?
So as you know, due to privacy concerns, we don't have much more to share at this time. We want to be very mindful of this. I know you guys have heard us say this before. So again, we just want to be really mindful. There is a process in place that the State Department is running. You just heard from my colleague, or might be still speaking at this time, at the State Department. And so again, we're just going to be very mindful.
Okay. On another topic, on the Republican-led measure to end the COVID emergency, the White House had initially signaled opposition to the measure, prompting House Democrats again to oppose it, and then once it went to the Senate, the president said that he wouldn't oppose it. So I wondered, why is the White House signaling opposition again and then coming back around and changing minds? Should there be improved communications, particularly for House Democrats this is the second time now?
So look, I'm going to do a little bit of a lay down because nothing has changed here. We have been very consistent on this process. So look, if the president was planning to veto this legislation, the SAP would have said so. That's how the SAPs work. That is incredibly consistent in that way. And certainly members of Congress know that. They understand how that works, how that process works as well. But that being said, the SAP was issued in January for 2 bills that would have lifted both the public health emergency and also the national
lying makes you
emergency
weak.
immediately, which, as you know, we oppose. We were very public about that. The bill that just passed would only lift the national emergency, which doesn't impact Title 42 or COVID authorities like for testing and for treatments. We are in a different place and time than we were in January, so that is something that you all know and have reported. We've been winding down authorities over the last 2 weeks, over the last 2 months, and the national emergency lifting just a few weeks before the public health one will not impact our efforts to do so in an orderly way. And that's what we've been very clear about when we talk about Title 42, making sure that we do that process in an orderly way. Again, nothing has changed. We were very clear with the SAP that we put out back in January, and so we have been very consistent with how we use the SAP and how we move forward with it.
Do you think somehow the House Democrats aren't getting the message, I guess? So is there better communication that needs to happen between the White House and the House?
I'll say this, Colleen, we have been in regular touch and tracking this with the House and also the Senate leaders since we issued the SAP back in January. And that was, we've always been very clear with them as far as early as January. Look, the president's not going to veto a bill. It will say, if a president's going to veto a bill, we'll say it in the SAP. And that's how SAP works, and we've been very consistent in this past 2 years. I'm going to go ahead to Lucy. I just want to let you know we are thinking about your colleague, and clearly he's in our thoughts. And so I'm going to give you the second question.
Thank you, Karine. Can you tell us anything about the president's reaction to the detention of Evan Gershkovich? And has the president engaged with state on next steps or reached out to the family at all?
So I will tell you that, as you all know, as I mentioned in my statement, the president has been briefed. He learned about this during the presidential daily briefing with his national security team and advisors who normally provide the daily briefing. I don't have anything else to share outside of that.
And are you concerned at all? And obviously, this is the first detention of a U.S. reporter on espionage charges in a very long time. Do you think this marks a turning point or a new low for the relationship with the U.S. and Russia?
So look, we don't have any specific indication that journalists would be targeted. As we know, this is incredibly sadly common for Russia to detain Americans, and that's why we've been very clear about Americans not going to Russia. It is not safe for Americans right now in Russia. It is a level 4. My colleague at the State Department spoke to this just moments ago. Again, we're going to continue. The State Department is going to continue to reiterate that it is not safe at this time to be in Russia or to travel in Russia.
Thank you. In regards to the Wall Street Journal reporter being detained, would the administration call this?
Simon's in the back.
Same. I mean, he's being detained, and we have been very clear. There's no reason to believe that those charges are accurate. The espionage are accurate. I don't want to speak beyond that, and certainly we will have more information when we get it. There are privacy concerns, so we just want to be very mindful on how we speak about this.
And John Kirby mentioned this earlier. This is not a new tactic from Putin in Russia, but this is the first time we've seen Russia detain an American following the prisoner swaps that secured the release of Trevor Reed and Brittany Griner. Is there a concern here at the White House that if the U.S. continues to engage in prisoner swaps, Russia will be emboldened to detain Americans as leverage?
So look, detaining Americans, as my colleague said, my NSC colleague said, is a tactic Russia has used for a long time. It is nothing new. When you think about Paul Whelan, you think about Trevor Reed, they were taken prior to the prior administration, under the prior administration. And so, as you all know, we're still working very hard to bring Paul home. That is something that we are committed to. You've heard that from the president. You heard that from the Secretary of State. You've heard that from my colleagues at NSC. And so right now, our best tool to prevent this is to make sure that we are discouraging anybody to travel to Russia, and we will continue to be clear about that. But again, this is a tactic that they have been using for some time now.
Does this complicate Paul Whelan's situation?
Look, As you know, those conversations are incredibly sensitive, and so we're going to be very mindful. We are still very much committed in bringing Paul home. He was wrongfully detained. We have been very clear about that, but not going to get into details on those conversations. Yeah.
And last one, is the administration reaching out to others for support? For instance, Governor Bill Richardson, who's been involved in other releases before. Is that something the administration
I don't have any outside conversations to speak to. You heard directly from the State Department. This is something, when it comes to these types of events, that the State Department runs and leads. So I will, and also with our NSC team here, so I will leave it to them to speak to that.
Thank you.
Karine, is it the administration's view that this reporter is being wrongfully held, or is that still a determination that's in
So
progress?
there's a process that the State Department runs, and we're going to let that process move forward. So not going to get beyond that.
Okay, and then another topic. Do you have any response to the article that was written by Senator Joe Manchin, where he particularly the conclusion that he made that the administration is improperly putting the Inflation Reduction Act measures into place right
So
now?
let me just first say we have a respectful, a productive relationship with Senator Joe Manchin, and we are very proud of the Inflation Reduction Act and our shared goals and values.
So you guys gonna actually reduce inflation or nah?
Things that we are incredibly proud of: promoting America's energy security, strengthening supply chains, creating good-paying manufacturing jobs, and investing in energy communities and towns across America that have been left behind. You hear the president talk about building an economy from the bottom up, the middle out, and making sure no one is left behind. This is what the Inflation Reduction Act shows and proves, and so we're going to continue to work with Senator Manchin.
This is like the most normal outfit she's ever worn on stage.
Reducing the deficit and the permitting reform, which are both part of the president's budget. Again, we are very proud of the work that we.
What's up, Patriot Roy?
Senator, and I'll leave it.
Yeah, Simon's back, but I bet she still won't call on him.
Down part of Obamacare, in particular the part about providing certain.
Debbie, call on Simon, chicken noodle head.
Yeah, a couple of things.
She won't.
We have some things that we want to put out there. DOJ and HHS are reviewing the decision made by the judge in Texas earlier today, but we want to be very clear. This case is yet another attack on the Affordable Care Act, which has been the law of the land for 13 years now. 13 years. In fact, as all of you guys know, the Supreme Court has upheld the legality of the ACA 3 times. They've had to do that 3 times in those past 13 years. And because of the ACA, you see 150 million Americans have access to preventative care like cancer and heart disease screenings. 60% of people use a preventive care service under the ACA every year. That's 60% of Americans across the country. Preventive care saves lives, it saves families money, and protects and improves our health. This case gets between patients and their doctors. That's what it gets. It gets involved in a decision that patients and their doctors should be making. It's yet another attack on the ability of Americans to make their own health care choices. Efforts to undermine this requirement are wrong, and they take us backwards, not forwards. So the administration will continue.
Be happy. Who does Simon work for? I think he works for a smaller news company. I don't think he works for mainstream news.
Interest groups that
I almost want to say it's like African specific. I'm going to look it up though.
What happened with Russia and the one on banking, but the first one, can you give any sense of when the administration was first informed that this happened, and then also what the timeline was for the first time you guys reached out to your counterparts in Russia to flag this as an issue as you pushed for consular access?
So I don't have a specific timeline for you at this time. I can tell you that
So Simon, his full name is Simon Ateba. He's a Cameroonian journalist who is a White House correspondent for Today News Africa.
the counterparts when the State Department or NSC connected with their counterpart. But look, this is a priority for this administration, regardless of whether someone has received a wrongful detention designation. The State Department seeks consular access for all Americans held abroad, and that's what we're waiting to do. That's what we're fighting for, to get that consular representation for Evan at this time.
And then on the bank regulatory proposals that the President directed towards the banking agencies today, it was made repeatedly clear that you guys, that the agencies had the authority under law to implement those without any congressional legislation. If that's the case, and if you're attacking the former administration for rolling it back, why did it take until a crisis to decide that these are things that need to be done?
Let me just say, unfortunately, the Trump administration, regulators weaken many important common sense requirements and supervision for regional banks, like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, whose recent failures led to that. We have experts out there who have said those rollbacks were a cause of the recent bank failures. That's what we're hearing from experts out there themselves. So just want to be very clear. It's not just us who are saying that. That's what the experts as well are saying. So today, the president is urging the banking regulators to consider reforms that will reduce the risk of future banking crises, stronger liquidity and capital requirements, annual stress tests, living wills, and stronger supervision. So again, because of what we saw done by the Trump administration back in 2018, remember what happened in 2008 and what the Obama-Biden administration were able to do. They were able to strengthen some of those requirements, make it stronger, and the Trump administration rolled that back. And experts themselves say that because of those rollbacks that we saw in the Trump administration, it led to these recent failures.
I understand that, but experts were saying that before the Silicon Valley issues as well, that this was potentially problematic, and you guys have been in office for more than 2 years. Why did you wait until now to send these suggestions?
So a couple of things. Look, the Trump nominees had the supervision portfolio at the Fed for much of those past 2 years. So that's one reason. The second reason is the Fed Vice Chair Barr only arrived in July of 2022. That's another part of that. But I'm glad folks agree with the regulations and supervisions that need to be strengthened. That's what we need to see, and that's what the president has asked the bank regulators to do, and the Treasury Department, and that's what we're seeing today. And so the president is committed to make sure that we keep our banks resilient, and that's what you're seeing today.
Karine, we heard from the Pentagon. We heard from Vladimir Putin's top spokesperson in Russia today saying that Evan Gershkovich was caught, in his words, quote, red-handed. Just from this podium to rebut that, can you say declaratively that Gershkovich never worked for and does not work for the United States government?
Well, I just said the charge of espionage is ridiculous. We cannot, that is not accurate, and we find that incredibly ridiculous. And so we're going to be very clear about that. This is something that Russia has done all the time, many times before, right? Which is,
has he ever worked for the United States government, or does he right now in any form, even to put it to bed?
What I can say is the charges against him are ridiculous. We have been very clear about that. I'm not going to get into more specifics. We've been very clear in my topper, and I was very clear in my statement that those are ridiculous and they're not accurate. And right now we're going to do everything that we can.
Then how come she's not saying that he's wrongfully detained?
On the
like Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner committed a crime.
At this time.
And they kept saying that she was wrongfully detained. She's saying that this incident is ridiculous, but she's not phrasing it as wrongfully detained.
American service members were wounded, suffering TBI, traumatic brain injuries, as a function of those Iranian-backed, in the words of the White House, attacks.
She gives me TBI.
In Syria right now. Because Iran continues to attack United States targets and American service members right now, the effort has been to deter them.
Nah, Sean, she only eats tacos.
So how is that strategy working, and shouldn't there be a higher cost for Iran to pay?
So look, I'll say this. We have a variety of tools to protect U.S. personnel and deter attacks. We will use those tools. We work every day to protect our people and deter attacks. President Biden has taken a deliberate approach, using a variety of tools to reduce risk to our personnel and make clear that we will hold anyone who attacks us responsible. And you've heard that from the president. You've heard that from the administration on down. The president will not hesitate to take action to protect U.S. personnel and interests overseas, and he will always take action at a time and place of
Fern, draft incoming. I don't know. Better not.
For my colleagues, but just to push a teeny bit on that, I recognize that that is his priority and his commitment, that he will do it at the time and place of his choosing, and the intention is to deter them. But clearly it hasn't deterred them, because it continues, as evidenced by us learning about 6 more Americans who were wounded during those attacks. So does there need, in simple terms, does there need to be...
If Old Man Walter activated the draft, and you got the letter in the mail saying you had to go, would you go, or would you go to prison?
And our U.S. and our U.S. Service members, and we're going to use them, and that's what we're going to do to deter these attacks. And so I will leave it there. We'll not get into.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grant. I wanted to ask why the Biden administration wants the FDIC to spare community banks from the special assessment to cover, the insurance deposits for Silicon Valley and signature banks. I mean, the default is that all banks pay. Why not broaden the base?
So I just want to. Are you asking about a particular bank, in a particular bank here?
No, I mean the Biden administration earlier was talking about the FDIC sparing community banks from the special assessment to cover the cost of insuring deposits at Silicon Valley and signature banks. Since the default generally is that all banks will pay to broaden the base, the FDIC does have some discretion, I understand. But I wanted to understand why is the administration encouraging that?
So I'll say this: look, the DIF has more than enough to cover, right? Any Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank deposits that cannot be paid using funds from the banks or the sale of their assets. And the FDIC has said any losses that the DIF will be recovered by a special assessment on the banks, not the taxpayers. We think it's important to make sure that these community banks, these regional banks, are also put in a strong place and are also resilient as well. And so I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go into specifics onto what the FDIC is doing. That is something for them to make.
I don't know why they're asking her about banks. They're not going to say anything about those banks. They only bail out the ones that they want.
I'm not going to get into.
What's up, Marvin? Thanks for being here.
To their process.
On immigration, if I may, Title 42 is coming, or the end of Title 42 is a few weeks away. A few months ago, before announcing some of the asylum changes, the administration was warning that illegal crossings could climb up to about 13,000 a day. Do those numbers or those concerns for those kind of numbers still stand? Or does the administration feel that with some of the changes involved that you guys have this under control?
So one of the things that I talked about very recently is how the policies that the president has put forth recently are working. If you think about the parolee program, you think about Venezuela, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Cuba, it's down by more than 97%. And it's down by 70% for El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. So what we're seeing is the president is using the tools that have been presented to him that he's able to use from the executive level without the help of Congress, Republicans in Congress who have gotten in the way and are not helped at all to deal with this issue.
Every day she comes out here and says about the things Old Man Walter does without the help of Congress.
More work to be done.
Just, what are you talking about, executive orders?
Always
acting like a dictator? Getting his way regardless of following the system or not. Every single day she comes out and says that stuff.
Day one, that's
Thank you so much, big fella, for that $5 donation. I appreciate you. Thank you.
So there's a way to move.
It isn't what she says, it's what she doesn't say.
But
You're right, big fella.
To do that. But again, the programs that we have put forth are working, and now we are moving forward, and DHS is moving a process forward to what it would look like once Title 42 is lifted.
Just simply, does the administration feel prepared for the end of Title 42?
Well, that is what DHS is working on. That is what their processes are going to show and be. As you know, it's going to be lifted on May 11th, and that is something that the president is looking towards DHS to make sure that we're ready to go by May 11th.
Could I please follow up on that?
Thanks, Karine. On Evan Gershkovich, has he been designated as wrongfully detained, and is Roger Karski's working on his case?
So, first of all, there's a process that the State Department is running. We got to let that process go. My colleague at the State Department spoke to this already moments ago, so we got to let that process. We have to make sure that we get the information. The most important thing at this moment is to get a counselor to Evan, and that's what we're working on.
There's actually a big push by the Foley Foundation and families of other detainees, those who believe their family members have been wrongfully detained abroad, for the Levinson Act to be reformed on Capitol Hill, to provide it with more resources, and for wrongful detainees to be designated more quickly. Is that something the administration supports?
I don't have anything to share about the Levinson Act. What I can say is, and I said this moments ago, regardless of whether someone has received a wrongfully detention designation, the State Department it seeks consular access for all Americans who are held abroad. That is a commitment that you will see from the State Department. And
she's sure using a lot of filler words when they're asking about this wrongful detainment stuff. As soon as Brittany Griner got picked up for bringing weed into that country I can't name, immediately wrongful detainment.
And the median income is $38,000. There are many communities like Rolling Fork that are, susceptible to these type of natural disasters caused by climate change. What does the administration say to these type of communities who are concerned that they could see the same type of devastation that we saw in Rolling Fork?
So, look, we've been very clear. Our hearts go out to the
can killer, pure bunnies.
As we all know, it is unfortunately one of the
you guys crack me up.
Areas in the country, and that is something that the president understands and that his administration understands. And I think it is important to also note that that's why the president's economic agenda is so important. That's why the president has been very clear on how he sees this economy growing, making sure we don't leave communities like Rolling Fork behind. And you see that in every policy that the president has been able, piece of legislation that he's been able to get passed, that it does not leave anybody behind. It invests in communities like Rolling Fork, and invest in making sure that we have that we are creating good paying jobs, and that's what you're going to hear, especially as we talk about the Invest in America tour. That's what you're going to hear from our secretaries across the administration who are traveling this week and the next 3 weeks. That's what you're going to hear from the president, the vice president, the first lady, and we're going to make it really clear. This is how we're going to invest in America. This is how we're going to invest in communities like Rolling.
Oh man, Walter, I ain't never
makes it so
never invested in America.
Reduction Act. When you think about fighting climate change, that is one of the biggest. It's so historic, right? Because it does the most piece of legislation.
Should be fighting the border crossers. That's what you should be fighting.
And so
thank you so much, Mr. Beansy Beans, for gifting a sub over on Twitch. I appreciate you. Thank you.
As we move forward in this administration.
And Kentucky, the Kentucky legislature overrode the governor's veto of a bill that restricts aspects of trans youth, gender affirming care, and the use of bathrooms. I know that the White House released a proclamation for Trans Day of Visibility. There is a march happening tomorrow to commemorate this day, but also to protest these type of bills that are continuing to be passed and advanced in legislatures across the country. What is the White House's message to these lawmakers?
Interesting. I didn't know there was a march going on tomorrow. We'll try to cover it.
First of all, we support peaceful protest. We think it's important for Americans and people just across the country to make their voices heard, just as long as it's peaceful. And we've been very clear about these anti-LGBTQ bills that we're seeing in state legislatures across the country, in particular these anti-trans bills, as they attack trans kids, as they attack trans parents. It is shameful. And it is unacceptable.
It kills me when she talks about kids. There is no such thing as shape-shifting children. That is not a real thing.
And making sure that they feel seen. We're seeing more and more of these hateful bills. And that's what Republicans want to spend their time on. They don't want to talk about lowering costs. They don't want to talk about actually making Americans' lives better. They want to take away people's freedoms. And one of the things that we saw during the midterm elections is that people don't want their freedoms to be taken. They want us to fight for their freedoms. And
mutilating your child is not freedom.
It's disturbing, and our hearts go out to those.
Somebody needs to cuff this person.
As they are under attack right now. But this is a president who has said many times before he has their backs. He will continue to have their backs, and he will continue to fight for them. And his record shows that. Okay.
Thanks, Karine.
Thanks for letting me know, G-Ski.
Vetoing the House bill that would overturn D.C.'s police reform law?
That is something that he is planning to do. As I've mentioned many times before, that we, I think a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that he was looking at it. But the president believes that building community trust is integral to fighting crime. That is something that you've heard him say. The president believes that we should fund the police and give law enforcement the resources they need for effective accountability.
Unless they're on the border, right?
And at the same time should not weaken penalties for gun crimes. So while he does not support every provision in the D.C. policing bill, he will not support congressional Republicans' efforts to overturn common sense police reform, such as banning chokeholds, limiting use of force and deadly force, requiring the timely release of bodily worn camera footage, and requiring officer training on de-escalation and use of force. So Congress should respect D.C.'s rights to pass measures that improve public safety and public trust, and the president will veto this resolution if it does reach his desk.
Quick follow-up. You said that he doesn't support all of the provisions in the bill. Could you be specific there, just because the police unions are saying that this would strip their ability to collectively bargain around disciplinary hearings?
I don't have the specifics to share with you at this time, but look, the president has been clear that he believes it's very integral to have the trust, the community to have the trust in fighting crime. And that is something that is very important. Trust should be at the center of this as we're talking about police reform. And so, again, he doesn't agree with all the provisions, with every provisions, but if it comes to his desk, he will indeed veto.
Continue to go back that.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Karine. So earlier you mentioned your opening statements, Republicans not taking any action when it comes to gun violence. Well, I know the president talked to Senator Blackburn earlier this week. We got an email today saying that Senator Blackburn's introducing the Safe School Act with the other Tennessee senator. Bill establishes a $900 million grant program to allow both public and private schools to train and hire veterans and former law enforcement officers to protect schools. Does the administration have a stance on that?
I'm going to be very clear here. The president has said over and over again, look, let me even step back a little bit further. We have done 24 executive orders in the past 2 years, this president has, to do everything that he can to protect communities and our kids. And as we know, we can't do it alone. The president is limited on this, so we need Congress to act. And the things that we know are very popular that it will actually assist or help prevent gun violence is, one of them is banning assault weapons, right? That we know for a fact. When it was done in 1994, for those 10 years, gun violence went down. And when that law sunset, it rose back up again.
This is not the same world as it was in 1994. Not even close.
Calling for the assault weapons ban, and this is something that Republicans won't move on. And not just that, there's other common sense guns.
The mice telling us to ban mouse traps.
All gun sales, requiring safe storage of guns, eliminating immunity for gun manufacturers who knowingly put weapons of war on the streets. These are weapons of war. Weapons of war, they should not be in our communities, they should not be in our schools, they should not be in streets. So that's what we're calling for. We're calling for actual real solutions here. Real solutions that we actually know work and majority of Americans support.
But is more funding for school security guards a solution that you would consider?
Look, the president signed the...
She don't want to talk about that.
Right, this summer. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation. And even when we celebrated signing that, when the president celebrated signing that into law, he actually said we need to build on that and do more. So yes, we need to do more, but we know what needs to happen. Banning assault weapons is one of the clearest ways. That's what the data shows us, that we can get weapons of war off the streets, and that's what we're asking for. Go ahead, Ariel.
Thank you so much. You just said that the majority of Americans support banning assault weapons, but like the most recent polls are not very clear about that. There are even polls saying that a majority of Americans actually oppose assault weapons, and there is a gun culture in this country that is unique in the developed world. So what makes the president so confident that he can make the case that these weapons of war, as you say, don't belong in civilian hands?
Because it's the president's, he believes as president, he needs to do everything that he can to keep communities safe. He needs
Get rid of gun-free zones. Allow teachers to conceal carry if they wish to. Put 2 or more officers in every school, or hire veterans to stand in places, armed guards.
See, we've seen that.
Problem solved.
After poll after poll.
Rights still intact.
You actually see some gun owners who want to see some common sense gun reform.
To refer to it as common sense. Take your rights away as common sense.
We
Typical lefty name calling.
We have to do everything that we can to stop this epidemic that we're seeing.
You're soft and dumb at the same time, KJP. You ain't supposed to be soft and dumb at the same time.
That we're seeing in our churches. And this is one way that multiple ways that we feel that we can get to a place where we're keeping that promise and keeping Americans safe.
Taking our rights away does not keep us safe.
Earlier this week, Reuters reported that the administration has become increasingly frustrated with Mexico in a dispute over energy trade. Reuters reported that USTR is planning on making a final deal. Is the U.S. prepared to use tariffs if Mexico won't budge?
I don't have anything to share on that. I'm not gonna comment on.
I guess more broadly, is the administration at all frustrated with Mexico, kind of over energy, kind of also, fentanyl? How are they working with Mexico in that sort of realm? And those are pretty big policy areas. I guess just where does the administration stand with Mexico right now?
So look, the president was just in Mexico recently, back in January. You saw him at the summit with the president of Mexico, AMLO, and also the prime minister of Canada, and you saw them interact. They had a very, productive meeting, productive summit.
It was productive, wasn't it? That was the very first day they called out Old Man Walter for having classified documents in his possession illegally. I
don't have anything.
It was productive that day.
On those specific items, what I can say is that, again, they are one of our closest allies, and we will continue to have a close relationship.
Thanks, Karine. Yesterday we saw the First Lady in Nashville attending a vigil in the community that just saw this shooting take place. Does the president intend to also go to the community to meet with families and pay his respects?
We don't have anything to share on.
I bet he goes there before he goes to Ohio.
First Lady was.
Guy Dub. Assault is an action. They want to blame tools for mentally ill human actions. So dumb. You're right.
Be there with the family. This is something that she and the president has done far too often in the first 2 years. And the message that she sent, that we sent clearly to Nashville, is that we will be with them today, tomorrow, and the upcoming weeks. We know how difficult it is when a community deals with that type of devastation, gun violence devastation, and you never fully recover. And we will be with them for as long as it takes.
Speaker McCarthy also spoke with reporters on Capitol Hill about the shooting, and he said there needs to be a conversation on mental health, and that he doesn't think a piece of legislation would solve this. I think the nation working together to solve problems that are much bigger than us. Does the White House have a response?
Wait, say that last part? Problems that are, say that last part?
The nation working together solves a problem that is much bigger than us.
Yeah, we agree that working together, Congress and Republicans and Democrats working together to solve a big problem like our kids being
faded. If you guys notice your comments getting through, it's YouTube hiding them. They aren't letting mods unhide them.
This is administration.
I haven't seen a flagged comment in like over a month. They're not even showing me the flagged comments on YouTube anymore. YouTube is just banning people's comments.
The pandemic.
I know you mods can see them, but you can't unban them, and I can't even see the comments that are being flagged anymore.
It's just
YouTube's censorship is at a point where they won't even show the creators what's happening.
Actually doing the work to deal with getting weapons of war. Again, weapons of war off the street.
Maybe that's why people are unsubscribing. Maybe they think I'm censoring their comments.
The president has always said he's ready to work in a bipartisan way to deal with an issue, again, that's killing our kids. So if he wants to have a good faith conversation on that, we're willing to have it.
Thanks, Karine. I wanted to also ask about some comments that Speaker McCarthy made on Capitol Hill. He was talking about the debt limit talks, and he said he didn't know how much more easier he could make it for the White House. And then he said he would bring lunch to the White House and, quote, would make it soft food, if that's what the president wanted. It's being interpreted as a dig at the president's age. So I wanted to give you a chance to respond, but also just to ask, like, what kind of effect comments like this have on these talks.
Look, I think the president is able to pick out his own Starbucks. So I'll say that. And what we really need from Speaker McCarthy.
Joey, thank you so much for the Venmo donation. I really appreciate the support. Thank you.
And I'm sure you guys saw this morning how it's going around about what the speaker said in January, how important it is, and I'll quote, "We should have to pass a budget so the country can see the direction we're going." Remember, the president said, we want to see what they value. We want to see exactly what it is that they want to cut. So let's have that budget discussion. What does the speaker want to discuss? What are the
Klaus Daniels being shy right now.
Does he want to raise? It's been 3 weeks. We've had our budget out. The president put out his budget on March 9th. 3 weeks, and we have seen nothing from the House Republicans. Nothing.
So you're saying you want to see, like, hard figures before you would sit down
it's not just us. It's the American people. We need to see transparency. Where's their budget? What is it that they want to do? How do they see?
Pull your budget out.
Responsible. How does that look for them? We have our budget, and not only that, the president put a budget. And it says
she's such a smart mouth. She'll have a hard time when she gets done being press secretary. I doubt anybody's gonna want to deal with her.
Lay that out for the American people. They keep coming up with excuses.
Does a comment or quip like this from the speaker make you guys think he's serious about talks, or is he?
That's up to him. He's speaking to the American people here, right? That's something that he has to answer to the American people if he's serious or not. We are. We showed our values by putting out the president's budget. So that's for him to respond to, not for me. Go ahead, George.
This is not
What's up, Church Crazy?
since it's opening day.
All your comments are getting censored on YouTube.
Opening day, the president has not gone to throw out the first pitch. Will we see him at a game at all this season, or is that one presidential tradition that he's casting aside?
Well, I agree with you. It's not life or death.
I want to see Old Man Walter throw the first pitch.
or announce from here about that particular question. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. On artificial intelligence, 1,000 of the world's smartest people are saying that AI pose profound risks to society and humanity. They want you guys to regulate it. Will you?
You're talking about the letter that was released yesterday. So, look, it highlights a number.
We covered that yesterday, if you guys weren't here.
In the administration's blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights, which was released last October, as I'm sure you've been following, Peter. It includes principles and practices AI creators can use to ensure protections related to safety, civil rights, civil liberties, are integrated into AI systems from start to finish. Right now, there's a comprehensive process that is underway to ensure a cohesive federal government approach to AI-related risk and opportunities, including how to ensure that AI innovation and deployment proceeds with appropriate prudence and safety foremost in mind. And so we're going to, I don't have anything to announce at this point, at this time, but there is a comprehensive process in place.
So announcements aside, there is now there's an expert from the Machine Intelligence Research Institute who says that if there is not an indefinite pause on AI development, this is a quote, literally everyone on Earth will die. Would you agree that does not sound good?
Your delivery, Peter, is quite something.
It sounds crazy, but is it?
All I can say is that there's a comprehensive process in place. We put out a blueprint back in October, as you know. I don't have anything to share. We have seen the letter. We understand what their concerns are. Again, a comprehensive process. We'll let that flow.
So is President Biden worried that artificial intelligence could become self-aware?
Look, there's a comprehensive process.
Old Man Walter is not even self-aware.
Put our blueprint out back in October. I just don't want to get ahead of our findings and what that's going to look like. But it is a cohesive federal government approach to AI-related risks, as you just laid out in a very dramatic way. But clearly,
he quoted them, but he's dramatic.
Everyone on Earth will die.
Pretty dramatic. we're going to move on. But thank you
You're such a
for the
doughhead.
drama. Go ahead.
About Evan, sorry, a little more serious topic.
It's his fault that he quoted someone. Stupid.
I assume that means it hasn't been granted yet, and no one from the U.S. government has been able to be in touch.
So I'm just not going to get into any specifics from here. All I can say, it is our commitment to any American who is someone who has received or not, who have not received wrongfully detention designation. That's what we're going to fight for. That is the thing that we're going to fight for. Make sure that they have a counselor.
Of course, but just
access.
the language from here in the State Department has been that you're seeking it, so that the assumption would be that you haven't gotten it.
Well, I'm just going to leave it to what you've heard from me, what you've heard from the State Department. I'm just going to leave it there.
Have you summoned the Russian ambassador in for discussions?
Don't have anything to share on that.
And are you...
Look at Peter's over there getting those Twitter fingers already.
The White House is not concerned that the Brittany Griner swap made Americans in Russia a more appealing target for the Kremlin.
Look, we want to be very careful here. We do not want to...
Thank you so much, Trigger Crazy, for continuing the membership program for 22 months.
As I said
You're
earlier,
officially a hooligan. And I appreciate you, Trigger Crazy. Thank you.
they have used for some time now. And I mentioned this earlier as well to one of your colleagues. Paul Whelan and Trevor Reed were taken under the prior administration. And as you all know, we're working very hard to get Paul home. We are committed to getting Paul home. And our best tool right now is to protect Americans is prevention. That's why we've also been clear about not traveling to Russia and to leave Russia if you are currently an American and you're currently there. Russia is not a safe place for Americans. The State Department just also earlier said if there are Americans in Russia who want to leave, the State Department will assist in them leaving the country. And so that's what we're going to focus on is prevention. And we should not be politicizing what is currently happening to Evan.
Do we have any idea what precipitated this? I mean, I'm assuming he's been working there for quite some time. Do you have any idea about the motivations? Why now?
Don't have any further information to share. Go ahead, JJ.
Two questions, one on Tesla and one on Russian grain. Wondering if you have a reaction on these two news stories. Some new reporting from us that Tesla is looking to build an EV plant in the U.S. and its plans include a Chinese battery company. Any reaction on that one?
I have not seen that reporting. I would have to check in with the team before I can respond.
And then on Russian grain, any reaction to the news that U.S. crop traders are stopping some operations in Russia?
Again, I would have to check with our team on that particular story about Russia grain and the U.S. companies connected to that. But thank you for the question.
Hi, I have two questions. One about Colombia, but first a follow-up on Mexico about this report from Reuters. In July 2022, that's when the United States requested consultations with Mexico over the new energy policies. Do you have a sense of if these conversations are advancing, if there has been progress, or if there is a stalemate?
I'll say this. Our relationship with Mexico is very important. They are a close partner, one of our closest allies, right? Geography, as you think about that. But just don't have any updates on those particular conversations at this time.
Thank you. And about Colombia, do you have any reaction to the attack by the ELN group to 9 government soldiers died? And the attack took place yesterday. Has there been any conversations with the Colombian government?
We offer our condolences to the families of the 9 soldiers who lost their lives as a result of this attack. The U.S. condemns this attack against the public forces of Colombia and stands in solidarity with the government of Colombia. I don't have any conversations to read out at this time.
Kevin, I see what you're saying about the active shooter situation in Maryland. There's no video on it, though. I don't know if it's being banned by YouTube or what, but I also looked at Facebook, and I'm not seeing video for it. I seen a breaking news headline, but that was it. There's no actual video footage of what's happening there.
Our thoughts about HR 1.
Hey, thanks for being here, Sean.
Beyond that, to share, what I stated, I think 2 days ago stands. Just don't have anything else to share.
On the debt ceiling, it's been 58 days since there was a meeting between the House Speaker and the President on the debt ceiling. We're talking about the full faith and credit of the United States. We're talking about, a serious issue. Why not? Why doesn't the President just call for a meeting?
You're right. We're talking about the full credit. Wait, let me answer. I heard your question. We are talking about the full credit of this nation, which is why we believe that Congress should not hold this up. It should be done without conditions. There should be no negotiations.
Normally I cut the camera off, but I just had a dad sneeze. I didn't have no time. Cat scared.
Administration to lift the debt ceiling. That's what should be happening. It is their constitutional duty to get this done. We should not be negotiating on the debt ceiling. We should just not be doing that. The president has been clear. Now,
super clear.
If Republicans...
Thank you so much, Sam, for continuing the membership program for 26 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you. Thank you, Sam.
We've said it.
What's the status quo?
It has been 3 weeks. Where is their budget? Show us the budget. They have not been.
Show me your budget.
Again,
pull your budget out, buddy. Let's see it.
Debt ceiling is something that is.
What's up, NC Proud Dad? Happy freedom.
On behalf of taxpayers, on behalf of the American people.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Get that done without conditions and without having to negotiate. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my question. I have a question about the Taiwanese President Tsai.
Thanks, Jason. We'll grab some coffee really quick. I'll be right back.
This has happened 7 times before. But my question is that this is the very first time that Taiwanese President...
Don't burn my chat down, hooligans. I'm always watching.
On U.S. soil, who is the third in succession of U.S. Leadership hierarchy. How do you explain that this is the same as things that happened before?
Look, President Tsai's visit is going to be private and it's unofficial. So I'm not going to speak to who she's going to be meeting with. And so that is something for her office to speak to, the Taiwanese Authority to speak to, and for any of the congressional members. So I'm not going to speak to that. What I can speak to is that we see no reason for Beijing to turn this transit, which is consistent with longstanding U.S. policy and practice, into something that is not. They should not overreact. We have seen this happen, at least with this current president, 6 times. 6 times she has made this transit. There's been no change to our one China policy. It still stands. And again, there is no reason for China to overreact.
Just a quick follow-up. Yeah. I understand that White House does not confirm there was a phone call between National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and Wang Yi of China. I understand that. My question is that, and I also understand that White House does not issue a readout for every single call. My question is that what is the criteria when it comes to the White House that values the transparency so much that the ones that issue a readout and the ones that don't, in general?
Well, let me just first say I'm not going to be confirming a call from here. I just want to be very clear. My colleague said this. My NSC colleague said this very thing at the podium yesterday. And yes, we do believe in transparency. But again, I don't have a call to confirm at this time.
Hi, thank you, Karine. I have 2 questions. First, another readout thing. So the Vietnamese newspaper have been reporting that President Biden had a call with the head of the Vietnamese Communist Party. And we haven't seen White House release anything yet. Just, see if that call did happen and will there be a readout? Because it's kind of a big deal.
Let me just check with the team on that. I don't have anything further.
Second question on Russia.
Yep.
So on April 1st, this Saturday, Russia is set to take on the presidency of the Security Council and the UN. Does U.S. believe this is acceptable, and how are you preparing to deal with Russia's new presidency next year?
So I do have a couple of things to say about that. We urge Russia to conduct itself professionally during its scheduled presidency in April. And for
be happy, QAnon shaman released from prison weeks after Tucker Carlson airs J6 footage. Yeah, someone was saying that earlier. They need to release all those J6ers. It's been long enough.
On the council.
Where's Vic? Please show Klaus. I will if I see him. I just scared him running to get some coffee. If he comes by here, I'll pick him up.
The war crimes members of its forces are committing and its outrageous violations of the UN Charter. A country that flagrantly violates.
Hey, thanks for being here, Annette. I appreciate you.
Its neighbor has no place on the UN Security Council. Unfortunately, Russia is a permanent member of the Security Council.
Thank you so much, IB4, for that $5 donation. I appreciate the support. Thank you, IB4. What happens when AI reaches cognition?
As it may be,
would it still be called AI?
Over the council.
I think it'll be true AI once it starts thinking for itself.
Colonial position, which rotates to council members month by month in alphabetical order, and that's what we're seeing in April. The United States will hold the council presidency in August of 2023, which I'm sure you are tracking. Let's try and call on somebody I haven't called on before.
Call on Simon.
One more. Okay, straight in the middle. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Karine.
You guys decide.
Thank you, Karine. The president did express great happiness about the release of Paul Rusesabagina from Rwanda. Does he plan to meet with the Hero Hotel Rwanda, now just released from prison at the White House, anytime in the next 2 weeks?
So don't have a meeting to preview or to announce at this.
Wireless, is this your first time being here?
We were to your point.
The point is the commentary over the videos.
The release.
Like, that's the point.
But don't
Otherwise,
share about a meeting. And
why wouldn't you just go watch this at the White House if you want to support the White House?
Significant role in this.
And how many questions do you want to hear about Russia?
Just don't
Same
have
questions,
anything
same
to share
answers.
about the process and the specifics of his release at this time. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
I can't believe they laughed at Peter and then told Peter that he's being dramatic after quoting someone. As if the quote wasn't dramatic, it was Peter's fault that it was dramatic. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Prostitute.
All right, hooligans. Well, that's all I had for today. I'm going to give you guys the spiel deal. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we're going to wrap things up. If anything crazy happens later on, because it is getting warmer outside, things are going to start getting more spicy. I'm telling you, I'm seeing the symptoms of a spicy summer, and we're going to be here covering all of it. So what we're going to do is the spiel deal. We're going to wrap this up. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be doing Coffee with Hooligans. And then after that, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do the birthday unboxing live. And then right after that, we're going to go to JeffMAClive.com, and we're going to have a audio chat where all of us can hang out and have a back and forth and have fun and laugh and joke freely, because we'll be in the freest place on the internet over in the restricted area on JeffMAClive.com. If you don't have a membership, go grab one. You can get a free week membership at the very top of the link tree. It's probably also in the description. No strings attached. You don't have to enter a credit card or anything like that. After the week is up, your membership will just expire. You're not going to be charged or anything like that. But you're also welcome to just go over there and purchase a membership if you would like. Give me a second here to pull up this spiel deal, and then we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Alright, hooligans, go to JeffMAClive.com. On the home page, you can find all of my links listed. You can find the link to join Gilded for free. Gilded is currently the best way to receive notifications for when and where we go live. Every time we go live, there's a news board on Gilded to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. And there's a ton of hooligans in there to hang out with and chat it up about pretty much whatever you like. So definitely go and join Gilded. Also on the JeffMAC Live homepage, you can find links to the merch store if you would like to grab some merch. We have shirts, hoodies, stickers, and coffee mugs. Everything is displayed in black and white or white and black, but if you find something you like, just click on that item to see all the different colors that item comes in. You can also find links to PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Stripe, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, and Locals if you would like to support what I do. There's a link to the Amazon wish list if you would like to send me stuff. It's really easy to use. Anything you purchase directly from the wish list will be sent straight to me without having to find addresses, send emails, or do anything like that. It's really simple. And then finally, there is links to join the membership programs. We have memberships for YouTube, Gilded, Discord, Odyssey, Rumble, and Twitch. And then once again, JeffMAClive.com has its own membership that will give you access to your own profile. You'll have access to the private social media area. You'll have access to the live streaming area with the built-in chat. You'll also have access to the advanced messaging system where we can write each other, call each other, video call. You can upload any kind of media known to man, documents, MP3s, MP4s, slideshows, all kinds of stuff like that. We have the ability to group chat, group call, group video chat, everything. Every way of communication known to man is available on the website as long as you have a membership. That's how we're going to be doing our audio chat tomorrow. It may turn into a video chat. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. But it was a lot of fun last time we did it. I think we were on there for like 5 or 6 hours laughing, just laughing nonstop. It's always a good time. So hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow for the voice chat after after the birthday unboxing that we're going to do live. So that's it for the spiel deal. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, hooligans, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd love to see KJP do the Pledge of Allegiance. She couldn't handle that justice for all part. She's very one-sided. Same thing with old man Walter. He doesn't even speak to all of Americans. He only speaks to the blue team. Because all the red team is just bad. Those are awful people. They must be Trump supporters. All right. So that's that. If anything crazy goes on, we will cover it later. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for another Coffee with Hooligans. 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the birthday unboxing. And then right after that, we're going to hop on to JeffMAClive.com to do the voice chat where we can have a back and forth, just chat freely. I don't have any plans for what we're going to talk about. We started last time with reading quotes from Urban Dictionary because we're truly free over there and we can talk about whatever we want. It's always a good time. Hopefully you guys will join us. Big shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership program, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.
you.